Hi guys, you're welcome to today's video and you're welcome back to my channel. If you're a new subscriber, you're welcome to the Lola Joseph gang. I'm Lola Joseph, and if you're just meeting me the first time and you've not subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Subscribe and be an official Lola Joseph gang, and don't miss out on all the fun things. Fashion, beauty, lifestyle, you find everything here on my channel. Hey. So in today's video we're looking into how to apply eyeshadow, and in today's video we want to keep it beginner friendly, just to make it easy and very simple as well. So without wasting too much of time, let's dive into it. All right, so when it comes to eyeshadow, the quick information that I would like to pass on to you about eyeshadow is that eyeshadow is a color cosmetics that we use to decorate our face, and most especially on the eyes. We use it on the eyes, and they come in the form like a pan. They come in the palettes, yeah, pans in palettes, something like this. This is a very simple eyeshadow palette, and these are the pans. One, two, three. These are the pans with color range that start from light to dark. So the light color tones are usually used for the inner corner of the eyes right here, and the middle, which is like a mid color tone, they're mostly for the crease and for transitioning, and the dark color tones are usually for the outer corner of the eyes, just to add a little bit of depth, dimensions, character to the eyes. So we're going to get into how to apply it. So this is just a quick information about eyeshadow palette. So this is more like an all matte eyeshadow palette. So I'm sure we've all heard of matte and metallics and so on. This is like an all matte eyeshadow palette, which is very great for everyday wear and for beginners as well. But we also have some that comes with metallics as well, with both, actually, with both matte and metallics, and something like this has matte and metallics. So this is matte and this is metallics. So for the matte, I'll just give you a quick swatch for you to have a look. It has no shine. And for the metallics, they're very shiny. So for the metallics are very shiny, and for the metallics, I believe there are different types of the metallics as well. We have the satin and we have the shimmer and so on. The options are all up to you what you want to wear. But I believe if you're just beginning, I believe the satin metallics is just enough to finish your eyes, and usually is the metallics are usually placed right in the inner corner of the eyes, into the middle of the eyelid, just to enhance the overall look. So we're going to be doing all that today, but I want to keep today's tutorial very simple if you're just starting out. So I'm going to stick to this matte palette, and we're going to create a very simple all matte eye look that you can wear from day to night. So without wasting too much of time, let's start. All right, so before we start the application, I need to introduce you to the tools. These are the three tools that you need when it comes to applying your eyeshadow. We have this one, which is more like an application brush, and we have this bigger brush tip here, which is more like a blending brush, and we have this smaller, kind of like a very flat brush, which is more for like for the under eye, to apply under eye. So this is application brush, slightly flat but fluffy, yeah. And we have the blending brush, which is a little bit dense, fluffy, but not flat, yeah. So that's the difference between the application brush and the blending brush. And then we have the flat brush, which is very flat, a little bit small, not so dense. Then you can just use it to tuck in the eyeshadow right underneath the eyes and so on. So that's just a quick info about the tools. So these are the three tools that we're going to be playing with today. So the next step would be to prep the eyes. So to prep the eyes, we're going to be starting with a moisturizer, which is like an eye cream. Always use eye cream because they are less intense compared to normal face cream. So eye cream, then your primer, and we'll be going in with the concealer. The concealer helps the eyeshadow to perform better. They show more and they sit well and long lasting. So we're going to be using concealer, and we're going to also use a finishing powder, a simple finishing powder or setting powder. So let's call it setting powder, a simple setting powder to also set the concealer, just to make sure it's well prepped for the application. And you can also use a brush like this, which is more like a concealer brush. You can use it to just prep the eyes and so on. You can also use your favorite beauty blender once you've applied the concealer to finish off, and also to finish off, and also use the same brush to set with the setting powder. So that is how you prep. So let's prep. So a good moisturizer for your eyes is very important. That will allow your makeup products to sit well on your eyes, and you're also protecting your eyes as well from all the ash chemical in makeup products and so on. Anyway, so for the primer, we're going with this primer. We also have the eye primers as well. So if you prefer, you can go for the eye primer, usually the eyeshadow primer, to prep the eyelids. But I'll go for my normal face primer, just because I do not have that right now. But we have a lot of eye primers on the market, which are also very good for the eyes. Some even come with a little bit of concealer shade, that it looks so much like a concealer. So you probably won't need a concealer if you invest in a good eye primer for your eyeshadows. So this is very important. So the primers are very great in letting the makeup last long. So the makeup will sit well, it will last long, and no cracking, nothing. So that's very important. So my primer is on. Use your index finger when it comes to prepping your eyes, just because the index fingers are very weak, so they're very great in taking care of the eyelids. You do not want something too harsh for the eyelids, because the skin there is very tender. All right, so we're now moving on to the concealer. So you can use your liquid concealer, or you can just use your favorite stick concealer, but always go for a beige shade like this, or probably your own shade, which is usually 2 shades lighter than your normal foundation, than your normal shade in foundation. So I always use something like this, just to allow the color in the eyeshadow to show up more, and also to make it long lasting. All right, so I'm blending it in with this concealer brush. So just a dabbing motion is just enough on the eyes. Dabbing motion when it comes to blending your concealer. And then I'll be going with the setting powder. Using the same brush as well, just dab on top of the powder, dust the excess off, and then dab. And take your time to dab it in until you've achieved a very smooth canvas for the eyeshadow. So I'm finishing it up with my beauty blender. Always finish off with some beauty blender because they both have different blends, and blender tends to do better job when it comes to blending. So start with the brush and then finish off with the beauty blender. The brush kind of gives you more control while applying the concealer, while the beauty blender is more like putting everything together. All right, so now that the eyes are prepped, now we can go ahead and apply. So to start with the application, we're starting with a transition shade, and transition shades are usually the crease shades, and they're usually in the middle. Although not many palettes do have this kind of arrangement, some of them are kind of not so arranged. Yeah, that's the right word. So you just have to understand that the mid shade tone, like a mid tone kind of color shade, are for the crease and for transitioning, while the lighter shades are more for the inner corner of the eyes, and the dark shades are more for the outer corner of the eyes. So for the transition shades, it's more like you're building the color on the eyes, and which makes it very pretty and beautiful. So that is the reason why it's always important. Even if you're looking for a good eyeshadow palette, it has to have color stories that start from light to dark and ensure that they are very pigmented. So I'll be going with this color shade here, which is more for transitioning, like a mid-tone shade. So I'm using the blending brush to start. So I'll be starting from the outer corner of the eyes. It's always important to start from the outer corner of the eyes, because outer corner of the eyes carries a lot more pigment, carries a lot more depth in the overall eyeshadow look. So it's always good to start from the outer corner and then bring it in, without you have more control, and you can place the metallics in the front or the lighter color shade in the inner corner of the eyes. So let's start. Going in circular motion, this is better. So then bringing it into the inner corner of the eyes, circular motion, bringing it in, and always ensure it's lifted. Lift, just make sure you lift the eyeshadow, what's it called now, the transition shade. Make sure it's lifted to the upper part of towards the nose bridge, just to give you like a more opened eye look. So and that's very important when it comes to application. So doing the same thing to the other eye, starting from the outer corner into the inner corner and lifting it at the same time. And the V consciousness is very important. Like you're drawing a V, in as much as you're going in a circular motion, you're also using the circular motion to draw a V into your eyes. So that should help you to understand what I'm doing. So repeating the same thing here, and I'm going to go for one more application just to build up the color a little bit. All right, so now we want to add a little bit more depth into the outer corner of the eyes. So we're going for more like a darker color shade. So let's go for this one just to make it a little bit dark. So I'm using the application brush. This application brush is very important when it comes to applying to the outer corner of the eyes, just because we want to build the colors from light to dark. So we do not want to go for something that is a little bit dense like this, that might spread the darker color tone all over the eyelid, and that's not what we're trying to achieve. We're trying to build it from light, which is the transition shade, dark, and then blend it in just to create that gradient. Yeah, that's very important to understand. So we're using the application brush, which is a little bit flatter and smaller, so for more control, and we're dabbing it into the dark color shade. So mimicking the V vibe. and lifting it up a little, but we do not want to lose the first shade there. And then take your time to blend it in. We're doing the same thing to the other eye. You just leave it at this state. Might not make sense yet, but it will eventually make sense by the time we're done. So doing the same thing to the other side of the eyes. So mimicking the same V technique, and then blend it in, lifting it up without losing the first shade that was placed there at the top here. All right, so going back to the blending brush, I'm going to use the transition shade. I'm going to dab it into the transition shade, this one here, and then use it to finish the edges, because as you can see, the dark and the light, they kind of have a little bit of harsh line. So this will help. Or you can also dab into a deeper transition shade, this is much darker than the first one that we used. So I'll be dabbing in between both, just because we're having fun with the palette. So it's also important to have fun while doing it. So dabbing between the two, and then use it to blend it in, to cancel out the harsh line. Always dab the excess of the brush so you do not pack, so it does not become so messy. Yeah. So we're focusing more on the harsh line, bringing it out, in and out. And I'll do the same thing to this line here as well. As you can see, I'm not even touching the inner corner of the eyes, because I'm still going to place something lighter there. So we're blending everything in now, just to and that's just enough for this side. So we're doing the same thing to the other side as well. So play with both light and dark transition shade, and then cancel out the harsh lines. We're still blending and cancelling out any harsh line, just to put everything together to make sense. And I believe we're done there. So we want to enhance the inner corner of the eyes. So we want to enhance the eyes. So we're going to use something light like this in the inner corner of the eyes. I usually just use my finger when it comes to applying is it enhancement, or shall I say metallics? Mostly metallics. When it comes to applying metallics, I'll use my index finger, but you can also use a simple application brush like this, which is very flat and small, for more control. I think I have an extra, if I'm right. I think I have an extra application brush. Let me just look for it. I think I do. Let's see. Okay, anyway, I found something similar, not exact, something similar. These two, they're also great for applying eyeshadow as well, but you can just to apply the enhancement right in the front here. And I believe something like this, that is smaller like this, will give you more control. So I'll definitely recommend getting like two types, a full brush collection that will give you something like this. And I'll also link all these brushes for you below in case you need to lay your hands on them. Anyway, so let's enhance the eyes now with the lighter shade. So I'll be going with this, and I'll place it right on the inner corner of the eyes, down here. And you can see everything is coming together. Doing the same thing to the other eye. And pay attention to the way kind of gently tapping it in and blending it in, so it does not look so different from the rest of the shades. Yeah, so we're trying to achieve that. And you can then go ahead with another brush, something like this, also an eyeshadow brush, more like a blending brush to me, but I'll recommend a flat application brush like this if you have spare. So anyway, so something like this, an eyeshadow brush as well, also flat as well, but a little bit much dense and fluffier. So we're going to use it to finish off the light color shade, just to blend it in. All right, so just to lift the darker shade in this side of the eyes, which is the outer corner of the eyes, just to lift it a little bit, just to give it a little bit of lift, I'm adding this dark and this brown, just mixing them together, just a very soft dab, and then place on top. And that's just enough. I'm just trying to extend it a little bit higher so it's not too low. So I'm doing the same thing to the other eye. So we're doing the same thing, and we're also paying attention to the lighter shade that's been placed first. So we do not want to lose that. And I'm using the same blending brush that I used earlier, just to, this is just more like tidying up and ensuring the eyeshadow looks exactly the way that you want it to look. So using the other blending brush, stroke application brush, to just enhance to tidy up the enhancement, which is the lighter shade for the inner corner of the eyes. So just to cancel out any ash line that would have developed. So this is more like tidying up and ensuring it looks exactly the way that you want it to look. And that's it for the upper part of the eyelid. And this the whitish part, which is the inner corner shade that I've placed, it can also be a metallic as well. So if you do not want to go for an all matte eye look, you can add the matte at just the way I've done it here on the inner corner of the eyes, and then finish it off with metallics, bringing it from the inner corner of the eyes towards the middle, and that would just be perfect. Use your index fingers, they're best, and then you can just use the brush to tidy up any harsh lines that you have there. So that's it for the upper part of the eye. So we're going to the lower part of the eyelids, and then we're using this flat brush here. So this will just help us to tuck everything in properly. So I'm starting off with the transition shade that would, like, just exactly as we've done to the upper part of the eyes, we're doing it to the lower part of the eyes as well. So I'm starting with this transition shade, and I'll be mixing it with this one, just because we're playing with the gradients, and we want to ensure it looks the way that we want it to look. So it's always good to have that freedom when it comes to applying your makeup. And I'm doing the same thing to the other eyes, the other eye. All right, so using the same brush as well, going to the darker shade that we used on the upper part of the eyes, tapping it just like this. And now we're going to we want to create the same gradient the way we've created light to dark gradient here. We're trying to create the same gradient under the eyes as well. So once the transition shade has gone in as a start, then make sure that the darker shade is a little bit lifted towards the waterline, but not on the waterline, so it does not sting your eyes. So very careful. And that's all we're doing. I'm doing the same thing to the other eye. Always close. You can close this end here. Because when I started applying makeup, I was wondering if I can actually close it, but yes, you can. You can close it. And that's it. A very simple, beginner-friendly eyeshadow look. And you can't go wrong with it. This will definitely rescue you from day to night, for work, for parties, and so on. You definitely won't go wrong with it. It's not so difficult. It's a very easy. So at this stage you can then go ahead to apply your what's it called now, eyeliner. You can now go ahead to apply your eyeliner, put your lashes on, and you'll be golden. But because we're keeping today's video very beginner friendly, I'm not going to be fixing any lashes or put any eyeliner on. I'm just going to apply my mascara just to to lift my lashes, and apply my lipstick, my blush, and we're fine. So that's what we're doing now. This is a very simple tutorial, so just to make it easy, if you're just starting out, this is just enough. So just go ahead, apply your mascara, and you'll be fine. And we're done with the eyes. So I'm going to apply my lipstick off the camera, put on my blush and everything, and I'll come back. And this is how the eye looks. And we've come to the end of today's video. I hope you really enjoyed today's video, and I hope you really find it very helpful. If you do, please give it a thumbs up. I'll definitely appreciate it. Do not forget to subscribe. Like I said earlier, subscribe and be my OG, and come back for more tutorial, more makeup tips, more makeup, more how-tos, and so on. Come back to my channel. We'll definitely have fun, and I'll see you in my next video.